Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host, Hefty Duck. And as always, we invite people to come on the show, and whether they do or don't, that's a different story, but that's okay, because there's always next time if they can't come. But anyways, a lot of stuff going on in the Blue Jackets world. We're going to talk about the last 3 games that the Blue Jackets have played. They've lost all 3 of them, unfortunately. But it's not all bad because there were some good moments in all 3 of those games, and we're going to talk about that. Adam Fantilli, he is fun, and he's been so fun to watch for the Blue Jackets so far this season, and looks like he's taken that next step. What does that mean for the Blue Jackets? We are going to talk about that. We're going to share our thoughts so far about the Blue Jackets so far this season. They are 11 games in. We're going to talk about that. Some thoughts on Dean Evison, Don Waddell. I have a fun hockey video to show you, and so much more. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome in. I hope everyone's doing great tonight. And as always, just a reminder, wherever you're watching or listening from, to hit the like, subscribe, and whatever other buttons might be there. And if you too would like to, listen to us, maybe you're, can't watch while you're on the way to work or something like that. Then you can find us anywhere podcasts are found on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever. Big shout out to the audio listeners as always. Keep it up. We appreciate it. And don't forget to follow our YouTube. We are at 99 subscribers. I mean, one more. I may or may not do something fun after we get 100. We'll see. I hope it's soon. Anyway. So, this last week was not a very great week in the Blue Jackets world as far as games go. Kev said it earlier, 3 losses, 2 of which were horrendous. 2 of which, like the other teams did to us, what the Blue Jackets did to other teams just a few weeks ago, like a week or 2 ago, like Edmonton. And that's the way it goes. So let's go ahead and start talking about the first one real quick. Hold on. Let me go back to the thing. So the Blue Jackets played after our podcast last Thursday instead of our normal Wednesday. Blue Jackets played the Winnipeg Jets on Friday, and the Jets came into that game like 10-1 or something like that, and after playing 9-1, so since then they're now 12-1 with 24 points, and they lead the NHL right now by like 5 points. The next closest is the LA Kings with 19. The next closest after that is Florida Panthers with 19 as well. So they are on a hot streak. The the way that Blue Jackets have been playing, it's hard knowing what was gonna happen that night. I mean, I certainly didn't expect a 6-2 loss, but I knew it was going to be tough because the Winnipeg Jets are, obviously they're on a tear. They're doing something right. They're doing something great over there. And unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. So real quick, let's talk about some goal scorers for the night. How it kind of happened was Winnipeg scored 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 2 in the third for their 6. Blue Jackets actually scored in the first. And the second. And let me get my scoring up here. A goal. There it is. All right. So Nikolai Ehlers, he had a fantastic night for the Winnipeg Jets. He was the first to score, and he would score 3 goals that game to get the hat trick. I don't think he had the 4th one, did he?
No.
No. So, and then, Sean Crowley answered back with a nice assist from JVR, and before the first was over, Nikolai Ehlers once again scored. So he had 2 in the first. Sean Monahan was able to squeeze in a goal there, close to the end of the period, in the second period. Mason Appleton had scored for Winnipeg. And here's in the second period, Nikolai Ehlers gets his hat trick to make it 5-2. Then looks like I'm sorry, make it 4-2. I'm reading this backwards. So then Gabriel Velarde, he was the final goal of the game to put Winnipeg up 6-2. Shots on goal. Now this is really where it gets apparent because you have to look at it as like, okay, they did so good against Edmonton. Edmonton's maybe not on, not on the level of the Jets this year, but still pretty good game, pretty good team. But you start looking at things like this: shots on goal. Winnipeg had 44 shots on goal to the Blue Jackets 22. That's literally double the shots on goal, triple the goals. Face-offs are pretty even. Power play, they're both 1 for 2. Even penalty minutes, hits are close, blocks are close. The Blue Jackets had a few more giveaways, and that's one thing that we will have to look at here this year as well, and keep an eye out on that because it could get better. It could also get worse. And then the Winnipeg had quite a few more takeaways as well. So this is the first of 2 meetings. The next time the Blue Jackets will play the Winnipeg Jets will be December 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern. And so, what a tear that they've been on here, Kev. This has been crazy. I mean, what did you expect going into the game, and what did you think about the game?
Now, admittedly, I didn't know that Winnipeg was doing that good before that game because, generally speaking, if it's not the Blue Jackets in regards to hockey, I'm probably not paying attention to it. So we'll just throw that one out there.
Fair.
But when you look at it so far this season, the Blue Jackets have 5 wins, and some of those wins that they've gotten is against teams that have made the playoffs. Oilers Stanley Cup final, Toronto made it to the playoffs, Islanders made it to the playoffs, Colorado made it to the second round. So, and Buffalo. Buffalo's the only team that they beat that didn't make the playoffs last season, but
Right.
even they were, were decent. So like they haven't beat teams that were just like absolutely awful last season yet. So when you put 6 on the Oilers, 6 on Toronto, 6 on Colorado, heck, they even put 6 on Buffalo. They're only against the Islanders. That was the only time where they didn't put 6 on someone. They scored 2. So, like, when you look at all that, you think, small sample size, but they've been playing pretty good so far. And when they've had the challenge of playing a good team, that generally speaking, they've risen up to that challenge. And you think, well, maybe they can do that again against the Jets. That was a possibility. Well, that possibility went out the window because that didn't happen. Because it really just comes down to this. I think the home game against Minnesota, plus their 2 games against the Jets and the Washington Capitals, the Blue Jackets have learned a very valuable lesson. And the lesson is this: you are currently not in a position to where you can just take a night off and still be good enough to win a game.
Right.
You are in a position right now that the reason why you've been good and the reason why you've been winning games is because you work your ass off. You outwork other teams. You are aggressive. You grind it out. You outwork them. You make it hard on them. That's a big reason why you've won because of your hard work and your willingness to work your ass off and outwork the other team and grind it out that it has set you up for success to score goals, play good offense, play good defense, giving yourself a chance to win. That's why you've won so far. Because one thing Dean Evison has said and Don Waddell is you're not going to outwork the Blue Jackets. You're just not. If you're going to beat the Blue Jackets, you're going to have to outwork us. And generally speaking, so far this season, teams have not outworked the Blue Jackets. And so those 3 games, the home game against Minnesota, the game against Winnipeg, and the game against Washington, the Blue Jackets learned a very valuable lesson. You are not in a spot right now to where you can afford to take the night off and not work your ass off and win. You're just not. Some teams can get away with that for a game or two. But even it catches up to them. But they can afford that game or two. The Blue Jackets are not in a spot right now where they can afford to do that. They just can't. Because, honestly, looking back, for me personally, looking back at that game against the Winnipeg Jets, the scoreboard says 6-2, so you lose 6-2, but it didn't necessarily feel like a 6-2 game because there were moments in that game where the Blue Jackets looked good. They scored 2 goals, Sean Corrali and Sean Monahan. You know, Elvis Merzlikins made some big saves to keep it close. It could have been more than 6-2, but because of Elvis Merzlikins, it stayed that way. The only goal that I didn't like that happened against the Blue Jackets is that Elvis Merzlikins tried for a poke check and he didn't get it, and then it left a wide open spot for Winnipeg to score. Now, I understand why he's trying to do that. It's one of those 50-50 things. Sometimes it looks awful and it doesn't work. Sometimes it looks good and it does work. There's just a time and place for that. And in my personal opinion, I didn't like when he did it. But, oh well. So, there were some good moments in that game. You looked good sometimes, and you did score 2 goals, and Elvis Merzlikins did make some big saves. But ultimately, because you didn't work your ass off, you got sloppy, and admittedly, you let Elvis Merzlikins down because there's just too much going on there. Elvis Merzlikins has been way better this season, and you let him down. You can't do that. You just can't. And I hope that when the next time that the Blue Jackets play the Jets, they're going to look back at that game and say, okay, we know what they're like for this season. We know that we did some good things there, but we know that we can't do what we did if we want to have a chance to win against them. So that's about that. As for the next game against the Washington Capitals, that was a 2 out of 10 game for me. It's 2 out of 10 because you played awful in the first period. You give up 5 goals. Towards the end of the first period, it gets better. You start to play better. You could see there was a little positive momentum that they were building on. And they carried that positive momentum into the second period. They start to play better. They get a goal from Damon Severson. You're down by 4 goals. You're still losing 5-1, but it's better. You're building on that. You give up another goal, it's 6-1. But after that, for the rest of the majority of that game, you played a pretty good game. You just did. The offense was better, defense was better. Yeah, you give up a goal in that third period to make it, 7-2. But putting it off to the side, it comes down to this. If you don't have that first period where you don't give up the 5 goals, it's a different ball game. The game is tied up at 2, and you, more likely than not, still have a shot at winning it. This isn't to say you don't have a shot at winning it when you're down 7-2. You do, but more likely than not, you're not winning it because it's too much. But if you don't have that bad first period, it's tied up at 2. You still have a much better shot at winning it. So again, that's another example that I hope they learn from, which is you're not in like the Winnipeg game. You're not in a spot to where you can afford to not work your ass off and still win a game. You're just not. You're not there yet. And one bad period can really do you in because you give up 5 goals, and that was basically it right there. Because for the rest of the game, 99% of the time, you played a good game. So
I want to give the rundown of some stats for the.
So
Caps
there's some
here.
lessons to be learned there. Just got to do better. All right, I've done a lot of talking. Your turn, Hefty Duck.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go over some things here with the Caps then too. Sorry, I was spacing out a little bit because there's my view. If you're just now joining us, thank you for stopping by. Twitter was having issues with our post for some reason, or our live stream on Twitter. It had like the link, but it wasn't showing the video player. And so, because there's a normal amount of people that we kind of expect here and there, and so yeah. Thanks for joining us, even if you're a little bit late there. So, Blue Jackets, Caps, 7-2. Blue Jackets had goals from Damon Severson and Kevin LeBanc. That was his first goal as a Blue Jacket. As we're talking about, they let the first period get away from them badly. That was 5 goals in the first period. That's rough. And they're all from different people too. It wasn't like it was just Ovechkin sitting there in his office smacking him in or whatever, but yeah, rough. And then Severson comes out to start off the second period. I mean, if we're looking at, obviously it takes 3 periods to win, but if we're looking at the scoring here, after the first period, it was 2-2 for the rest of the game. And if they could have just waited and pulled it off, just like slowed down some of the goals. It's hard knowing what was going to happen. And also, like I don't really blame it on Tarasov per se. There was a lot of, he's the goalie and there were goals. So, like, of course, a job needs to be done. But he couldn't be pulled. I mean, if in an emergency, they could have. But, like, Elvis Merzlikins just played a game the night before where they let them take 44 shots on him. Now, there's something interesting about this game. I'll go over a few other little weird things I noticed about this game. So remember how last game Winnipeg Jets 44-22 shots? This game, they didn't lose because of that. Blue Jackets had 36 shots on goal. Washington only had 22. So, it wasn't exactly shots that were the biggest issue. Penalties weren't too bad. Sean Monahan had 1 penalty for the Blue Jackets in the middle of the second period. But realistically, there was 3 chances that the Capitals gave them that they did not do anything with the power plays. So just a crazy night altogether. Jackets had more shots on goal, won 20% more face-offs, had more hits, less blocks, less giveaways, and a ton of takeaways, 10 takeaways to 4. And if they couldn't come up with anything more than 2, it is what it is. I don't know if these goalies have just been owning them or what, because that's how, last game, Vitek Vanecek absolutely put on a clinic. He's not had a game like that probably in 8 years. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but I know he's been in for a minute. And yeah, just a rough one to see. 36 shots on goal, 2 goals. But then let's just go ahead and move on over to last night's game, because I think we'll want to talk about this a bit more too. So last night, the Blue at 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful starting time for a hockey game. The Blue Jackets played the San Jose Sharks in San Jose. This was their second game of this road trip. They had been playing at Washington for the Caps. And so anyway, this one was a way different story. Now, the Sharks, admittedly, are last in the not the whole league, but they're close to it. They're the last in the Pacific, tied with 10 points with Anaheim. And only Nashville and Philly have 9 points each, which is less than them. And that was rough to see. It doesn't matter. You got to be prepared. It's the NHL. Any team can win any night. It is very possible. I don't think that the Blue Jackets took this game lightly or came in lightly at all. But I think that maybe they weren't prepared for the Sharks to come out like they come out. Mikael Granlund, I think he's ranked like number 22 in the NHL right now. He's got some. I know this because I have him on my fantasy team. I just picked him up because he's having a great year, a great start to his year. I also picked up Macklin Celebrini. And they had some good games last night. It was just a shame that they could only get the one goal off, and then the one overtime goal. Then of course by a former Blue Jacket and a guy that Blue Jackets are still paying, Alexander Wenberg. And good for him. I like seeing other former Blue Jackets players be successful, but not against the Blue Jackets. Can't you just a little bit more? I don't know. I also saw a little bit of. So we got to actually see Macklin Celebrini last night a little bit, and that was cool. It seemed like we'll talk about Adam Fantilli in just a second too, because this will help lead into it. It seemed like Adam Fantilli was like trying to make it a point to really. I mean, he was just playing amazing last night, in my opinion. I thought he was playing great. And, when you see guys come in like that, everyone looks at Ovechkin and Crosby, right? And, when you look at the players who come into the league at the same time, who are like really high picks or whatever, it's just neat to see them both on the ice like that, which is ironic for other reasons. But, yeah, the only goal that the Blue Jackets scored that whole game is a goal from Kirill Marchenko, who is having a great start to this year. I'm not sure where he ranks in the whole NHL, but on the Blue Jackets, he is ranked number 1 with 13 points. Sean Monahan, also great start to his year, 11 points right now. Marchenko has 5 goals, 8 assists. Monahan has 6 goals, 5 assists. Zach Werenski is following up close with 3 goals, 6 assists, tied with Yegor Chinakov's 3 goals, 6 assists. Cole Cylinder also been going beast mode a lot this year. Also, this is crazy. I haven't seen this stat from the Blue Jacket for a while. Chinikov is a +7. I don't even want to look at what the numbers were last year. He's the highest on the team. Sick. So then we got Severson, 3 goals, 4 assists, and he is tied. Nope, never mind. Then we got Adam Fantilli, who has 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, tied up with Matthew Olivier, 4 goals, 2 assists, and Kevin LeBanc, 1 goal, 5 assists. So after that, Kent Johnson has 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. Hopefully he'll be back soon to continue that going up, because he's still in the top 10 even after missing a few games. That is your top 10 Blue Jackets point leaders right now. So yeah, let's talk about some Adam Fantilli. I mean, he needed this year. He needed to stay healthy for a year like this. I mean, I really think that we would have saw this kind of play last year from him already, if not for a freak injury, just a freak accident. It was just, I don't know what can you do about that? Just not play the game? Like, that's the only way you could have avoided something like that. So,
No,
it is what it is.
You just can't. So before I'll just share my quick thoughts on the game last night, and
Oh,
then
yeah, sure. Sorry.
we'll get into the whole Adam Fantilli thing. So, Blue Jackets in San Jose against the Sharks, they play a pretty good game. 99% of that game was their game. It was much better compared to the last two games. And it's not from a lack of effort. You look good there. You do get 51 shots on goal. You tried.
Yeah.
But credit to San Jose's goal. He played pretty good. He kept him in the game and everything. But putting it all off to the side, when you have 51 shots on goal and you only put one in, that's unacceptable. That's not good.
Yeah. Even if the goaltender's having his best game he's had in the last 5 years.
You just
maybe.
You just can't do that. You just can't do that. You just can't. You cannot have 51 shots on goal and only score one and expect to win. You had 3 chances on the power play to score. You did not score on any of those. So that's another bad thing. So can't do that. Adam, like you said, Hefty Duck, Adam Fantilli last night was awesome, just outstanding. He played awesome, and it really looked like he took another step that game. Like he was a dude that game, like he really wanted it. He had multiple chances where he legitimately could have scored. He didn't get it, but he could have done it. He had good chances. He played good, looked good. Like if he continues to play like that, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Now, 9 times out of 10, if the Blue Jackets play like they did last night, generally speaking, they're going to win. They just are. Owen!
What's
Hey, we
up?
got someone joining us right now. How's it going, man?
I totally forgot it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's the way she goes.
Yeah.
We got all the boring stat stuff out of the way.
I'll finish up my thoughts here, and then we can get Owen in here. So, 51. Generally speaking, if the Blue Jackets play the way that they do, generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, they're going to win. So they just got to keep that same effort going. They just got to capitalize on their chances more. If you have 51 shots on goal, you got to score than one goal. If you have 3 power plays, it would be very helpful if you scored on at least one of those. So generally speaking, it was a pretty good game. Unfortunately, you lose because you were only able to put one of the 51 on net here. So Owen will get you in here, and you have any thoughts on how the Blue Jackets have played so far this season?
I mean, this season was looking very promising. The last few games have gotten me a little bit anxious, to tell you the truth. I don't know what happened. We were playing really, really good hockey, solid hockey. And I mean, it just seems like we've hit a wall somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 games.
Yeah.
So I got a point.
3 games isn't too much to be anxious about, but when you have anxiety like me, I'm just like, oh.
No, I feel it. Because you really start seeing like what could go wrong, like how bad could it get? Yeah, you see that sometimes. Sorry, I'm not helping at all. I know I'm like probably making it worse right now for you. Sorry, but
It'll get better. We still have plenty of time.
Yeah. So, all right, Owen. One of the topics of the show, we're going to talking about Adam Fantilli and how he's been playing this season. So, what's your thinking on Adam Fantilli so far this season?
He looks comfortable out there. I'll give you that. I mean, returning from an injury like that, you wouldn't see a guy play a little more comfortable like that. But I've seen him just when he touches the puck, the crowd just lights up. Like,
yeah,
something's gonna happen, And even if nothing happens, when he touches the puck, it happens.
Right.
He's, I wouldn't be surprised if he heats up here closer to the All-Star break, and we may see him go as our representative. Who knows?
That'd be sick.
And, there is reason to believe what Owen is saying there is true, because last season, right around December and January, Adam Fantilli really started to get going there and played better, and he's really started to pick it up. You could see it. Like it felt like he was gonna go on a heater there and start just playing really good. And unfortunately, like we've said on the show, that for freak injury happens, and that was the end of that. He didn't play for the rest of the season. But I do believe if that injury didn't happen, he would have continued his play, and the way things were going, he would have just continued that trajectory and would have been awesome. We'll never know that, but I do believe that's what had happened if he didn't get, hurt. As for me personally, I've been loving Adam Fantilli this season so far. He has been so fun to watch. It really looks like that he's taken that next step for him and the Blue Jackets. And that's awesome. Like you said, Owen, it just seems like every time he has the puck, it just seems like something good could happen. He's fast. He looks sharper, quicker, more aggressive. His puck skills are awesome. He's been harder to push off the puck. He's just been so awesome and fun to watch, and it feels like Owen has said, anytime he has the puck, something good could happen.
Yeah.
It
I
just
got about Marchenko though too.
all right. So
Like,
Adam Fantilli, you're playing good, and just keep going. And Michigan,
dominate, brother.
yeah, just continue to dominate. And
Show that you should have been the first pick.
yeah, right.
I'm happy you weren't, man. I'm happy you weren't
right.
second. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Anaheim, for not taking him. And Michigan, you got any more of them good hockey players? I'm just saying. Just saying.
Well, at least one. William Whitelaw.
Whitelaw. Yeah. But other than that, just keep sending them the Blue Jackets' way, because I'll take them. And they've benefited the Blue Jackets over the years with Zach Werenski, Kent Johnson, Jack Johnson, and, Adam Fantilli looks good, and Gavin Brindley, maybe Blue Jackets prospect William Whitelaw when he gets here eventually. So, just Michigan, listen to me. I say this as a person that likes Ohio State and does not like you, but respects your hockey program, because the Blue Jackets have benefited from that. Just, hey, keep sending us those hockey players, please. Just keep sending us those hockey players. And I do agree with their Hefty Duck. Kirill Marchenko is another guy that just looks so awesome and could be that guy that could take that next step.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and like we were saying, like I was saying earlier, him needing a season that he can break out. I mean, I'm looking at some other players though here too. I don't want to take all the conversation away from Fantilli, but I really got to point out Justin Danforth. Like, he only has 4 points right now, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's also only played 9 games, 9 of the Blue Jackets' 12 games. Which, by the way, I guess I meant to bring this up earlier. The Blue Jackets are 5-5-2 overtime losses. So that gives them 12 points, I believe. Right? Yeah. But Justin Danforth has been on the penalty kill lately, and he's been killing them penalties pretty damn good. And let me see. I wanted to see his shots on goal. 21. So he's out there. He's taking shots. He's been moving up and down different lines too. I mean, he's just been having a good start to his year. After being injured for like the past 2 seasons, he really needs a full year to that he can play and show what he's really got. Because yeah,
I've been
continue.
very impressed by Justin Danforth. He's really been, he's shown he can be a good third line, fourth line guy for the Blue Jackets. But this season, he's really stepped it up. He's been a very versatile guy. He's shown he can play up and down the lineup. You need him top six, he can do that. You need him bottom six, a third line, fourth line guy. He can do that. He's shown he can play center. He's shown he can play wing. He's given us some good, defensive minutes.
Yeah.
Good penalty killing, like you said. He scored some goals for us. I'm just liking what I'm seeing from him.
A big thing right now, too, to keep in mind is this is a contract year for Justin Danforth. He is a UFA with no strings attached after this season. He's 31 years old right now. He's a right-handed shot, which for some reason doesn't seem super common anymore. But to be fair, there's a couple of guys on their contracts year here too. But I don't know. I'm stoked with how Justin Danforth is doing. Even though it's 4 points in the start, I think we could see some big things out of him. Real quick, I want to talk about another young, upcoming guy, and he's only got 1 goal right now, but Mikhail Putia, he's been showing a lot of promise. Ultimately, the goals are and points are what matter the most, and being able to capitalize and getting goals and winning games is the most important thing. But the way he's played, how fast he is, he's 23 years old, so he's still pretty young yet. Yeah, I'm pretty excited with the way that he's playing. What do you guys think?
Owen, what you thinking here?
He's a really promising guy. He's flown in under the radar, coming out of Finland, playing with the Monsters last year. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets his second, third, and so on and so forth. He's out there putting in the effort. It's only a matter of time before he's rewarded for it.
The thing that I really like about Mikhail Putia is that he really has earned this spot, because I don't think people were coming into this season thinking that Mikhail Putia could have been one of those guys to take a spot out of training camp. If you asked Blue Jackets fans before the season started, they would have said one of a couple guys. They probably would have said something like a David Juracek, a Denton Matejchuk. They probably would have said something like a James Malatesta. Maybe they would have said something like a Gavin Brindley. And there's a couple other guys you could have said too. But to Mikhail Putia's credit, he's really earned that spot. He came into training camp, looked awesome. He played in all the preseason games, and he looked awesome, earned his spot on the team. And ever since then, he has just looked awesome. Started out, third or fourth line guy, played pretty good there. But ever since then, generally speaking, he's been on the second line with Adam Fantilli. And he's looked good. He's fast. He works his ass off. He did get the goal against the Oilers, and that was cool because I was at that game where he's there, a rebound. Blue Jackets have the puck in the offensive zone. They shoot. Oilers goalie makes the stop. Putia's there for the rebound, shoots, scores. Putia has been a good penalty killer, good defense, a grinder. He's fast. It's everything that you could have wanted. He's been so awesome, and I just like it. Just keep going, build on what you've done so far. And if he continues the way that he's playing right now, it looks like the Blue Jackets have something there. And you would put this in the category of another guy that the Blue Jackets drafted later on in the draft that turned out to be good. You know, guys
Yeah.
like a Cam Atkinson, an Oliver Bjorkstrand, a Vladislav Gavrikov, Marcus Nudavara. You know, you can go down the list. There's other guys too that they picked later on in the draft that turned out to be good. And as of now, it's looking like that Mikhail Putia is one of those guys that you could potentially add to that list.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing his future here. Especially if he's playing a lot with players like Fantilli, Stellinger, Yegor Chinikov, Marchenko, and whatnot. Looking forward to, hopefully, I mean, he's an RFA after this season. Hopefully, they retain a good core of some of these young guys. We have kind of a joke comment here, kind of, maybe. And then, so Rinketic Sport Agenda brings up a comment. If you two would like to comment, please leave one on our YouTube or Twitter, and we'll talk about them live on the show sometimes. So he says, trade Bjorkstrand for Provorov and bring up Denton Matejchuk. All right, real quick. Oliver Bjorkstrand has a $5.4 million contract that is good through next season. In 2026-27 season, he'll be a UFA.
Get done with it.
And so Ivan Provorov, which is a defenseman, not a forward, like Bjorkstrand, he's only 27. I actually thought Provorov was older than that. I think it's the beard. But left-handed shot defenseman, $4.73 million a year, because I believe the LA Kings are holding on to some of his, retaining some of his salary.
Yeah.
Which is interesting how the trade world works out. I mean, the Kings had nothing to do with anything but taking some cap, as far as I know. So, we on one hand we have, which Oliver Bjorkstrand's older, he's 29. On one hand, we have Oliver Bjorkstrand, one of some of our favorite players to ever have come through Columbus. And then we have Ivan Provorov, who's a fairly new face around here still. He played last year and everything like that. And I've seen Provorov get there's some complaints online that I've seen about him giving the puck away or something, or not being positionally correct or something, getting caught too far forward. I don't know. But he's a very experienced defenseman. And at the beginning of the season, Waddell went and got some experienced guys. He went and got Sean Monahan. And he was looking at Boone Jenner to, bring up a lot of energy with him and experience. And, he signed some older guys. He signed like Kevin LeBanc. He's like one of the more recent, James Van Riemsdyk, So he went out and got some older talent and some reliable guys. I don't think that he'd be looking to get rid of Provy anytime soon. I think we talked about this a bit on last week's show.
Yep.
And we kind of came to the conclusion that like Provorov very well could get traded after this year. I didn't mention this. I think he's a UFA after this year. So this is a contract year for him. So even if he is playing amazingly, there is people coming up like Denton Matejchuk. And I actually want to talk about David Jiricek real quick too, in just 1 second. But I just don't see that working out. Okay, real quick, I'll ask you guys. This is it, just yes or no. Or just give me Kraken or Blue Jackets. Who says no?
Who says no, Blue Jackets?
You think?
Yeah, we're keeping. I mean, at the end of the day, we're probably, if we were going to go after Bjorkstrand, realistically speaking, we're going to wait until his contract's up.
Right.
So that way we
That's
can
the
sign him
easiest.
in the off season, most likely. But would my fan boy ass do that trade in a heartbeat on NHL 25? You're damn right I would.
Rinketic, this is what I would say to you. Eventually, you will get your wish. Denton Matejchuk will be with the Blue Jackets at some point. Having said that, it's best for him right now to cook in the minors. Let him play that first line, second line minutes, power play, penalty killing, and all situations down in Cleveland. When he's ready, and he will be here. If I had to take a guess, in the event that the Blue Jackets are not fighting for a playoff spot at the trade deadline, Provorov probably gets traded. You're probably going to get like a first or second round draft pick, maybe a prospect for him. And then at that point, Denton Matejchuk probably gets brought up at that point. Another thing to consider right now, Ivan Provorov has been playing pretty good with Zach Werenski. And, realistically, the Blue Jackets really haven't had a guy that they can count on to play with Zach Werenski since Seth Jones. The second half of this past season, Damon Severson looked really good with Zach Werenski. But generally speaking, they really haven't had a guy that they could count on to play with Zach Werenski since Seth Jones. And as of now, it looks like you finally have that guy with Ivan Provorov to play with Zach Werenski. Maybe he's good enough to where he plays himself into another contract with the Blue Jackets. Maybe not, and the Blue Jackets make the decision to let him go after the season, or they may make the decision to trade him at the trade deadline.
So
hypothetically,
so
for now, Provorov stays, but I do Rinketic. Eventually, you will get your wish. Denton Matejchuk will be with the Blue Jackets eventually.
So, hypothetically, who says no?
Oh, right now it's the Blue Jackets.
It's fair. I personally think that neither team would even want to do that. Like, I know it's kind of just like a joke thing and a meme because it's kind of an inside joke with us about wanting Bjorkstrand back. But yeah, realistically, neither team's gonna want that. Maybe next year, after his contract is figured out or close to ending. But anyway, we got to get moving on here.
I said, I promise you, Rinketic, you will get Denton Matejchuk. He's coming, and it eventually will happen. Just not now.
Right. So, Kevin, did you have anything else that you wanted to go over yet for tonight's show? Any clips or picks or anything fun?
So the Blue Jackets recently posted a video all over their social media. When they posted it, it was 4 months ago until the outdoor game. Obviously, it's now less than 5 months. I mean, less than 4 months. But I still want to play the video because it's a really cool video. Less than 4 months to go until the Blue Jackets outdoor game. If I can find it, where is it? You know what? Maybe not. Maybe. I'm going to save that for next week. I don't think I'm going to. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm going to share this instead. So, I'm going to put this on the screen here. Which is this. Recently, there's news that came out that the Blue Jackets are now worth over $1 billion. Now, just because they're worth that does not mean that they actually have that. Might be more, it might be less, whatever. But why that's interesting to me is not that long ago, I want to say about a year or 2 years ago, Forbes had the Blue Jackets listed at worth at 600 million. Now, Forbes did not do this one. Someone else did this one. So I'm curious to know what's the difference between Forbes and this one, and why the jump of over $400 million to now over $1 billion plus. So just throwing that out there, I thought it was interesting to share that the Blue Jackets are now worth over $1 billion. And Owen or Hefty Duck, what you thinking about that?
$1 billion. Please tell me anyone got that. I know there's someone out there.
Austin
that's
Powers.
seen Austin Powers. No,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. It's both surprising and not surprising in that Ohio was one of the definitely not the near the biggest market, but also I mean when you look at what the organization has built, when you're including what all would be sold with a team, what includes their valuation, well, I'm assuming that includes all the personnel, all the branding, all the names, and if they were to be in the middle of a lease with Nationwide Arena, that probably would include the lease. It would include all these things, and when you really sit back and think about it, it's not too surprising. I mean, when you got so who has is it the Blue Jackets with the least with the
Why we
lowest
got
value?
last though? Why we got
Oh,
be the least?
actually, looks like the Winnipeg. No, I just misread that from where I'm looking at. Yeah, that is a bummer that they're in last, but yeah, finally they hit that 1 billion mark, which I think the next highest after them is like 1.13 or something there by the Buffalo. And I could imagine that being somewhat close to
Someone could sweep
Buffalo
us up
and
on the low if the McConnell guy doesn't want us no more. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
yeah, what do you think?
Owen, what you thinking here?
I mean, it's great that we are now valued at 1.06 billion, but why we gotta be last though? Why is Winnipeg worth more than us?
I'm
Winnipeg is
surprised at
such
the
a small
Canadian team.
market. Like we are just I don't know if I like it.
Penguins are worth 1.478. Young Beezer, that's a great comment here. Wonderful comment. He says, "I think the Penguins are worth too much." Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they had a big help growing their franchise and growing their organization with the whole Crosby thing over the years. So it is what it is. But
Man, we need a dedicated episode of the time the Penguins were so cash strapped they had to force Mario Lemieux out of retirement.
Shit. All right. So cool. Anything else there, Kev? Like that? If not, we can go to Owen.
No, so I got a cool hockey video from one of my street hockey tournaments I've done that I'm going to share, but we can get to Owen first and anything else you want to talk about.
Cool. Oh yeah, we'll just start our closing stuff then here. Mr. Owen, if you guys are watching from your phone and you can't see what these titles say here, like mine says @Lance_Schrock, that's me on Twitter. Bjork Swag says, well, okay, so first of all, his name tag says Bjork Swag. I'm a boomer. I don't know. I'm just playing. And then below that, it says Moosin' Around. Just wanted to make sure that the audio listeners knew that. So, Owen, anything you'd like to share or say before we close this episode?
We're moosing around. This is the year of the moose. And you know what? It's going to be a great year for the Blue Jackets as well. I'm excited. I'm going to be getting my tickets to the outdoor game with my haunt check, but I have a personal vendetta against Dan Bilesma. You absolute phony for scratching Oliver Bjorkstrand tonight. You absolute fraud. And that's all I got
Why?
to say.
Is it performance related or?
It's quote, it's not just Oliver. The message is not just to Oliver, it's to the whole group. So then why didn't you scratch somebody else?
So it is a message, though. Interesting. Oliver
Bjorkstrand
Bjorkstrand, 3 goals, 2 assists in 13 games. I mean, that's not like bad. 3 goals, 2 assists. I mean, that's a decent start. Damn.
for a guy they're bearing on the third line, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Yanni Gord. He actually, I'm looking at the Kraken stats right now. He might have some of the most penalty minutes in the league right now, with 30 for this year. That's more than double of anyone else on the Kraken.
Yeah, scratch him. The hell. Dan Bilesma.
Anyway, cool. Anything else for you?
That's all I gotta say.
All right, Kev, take her away.
All right. So I found the video that the Blue Jackets posted from outdoor. I'm going to do that. It's right. So the video says 4 months because it was 4 months when the Blue Jackets posted till the outdoor game, but it's less than 4 months now. But the point being, the Blue Jackets are getting an outdoor game. It's so cool. I'm so excited. Owen's going to be there. I got my tickets. I'm going to be there. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that the Blue Jackets are most likely never getting. So if you have the chance to do it, get your ass down there and go see the Blue Jackets play at Ohio State against the Detroit Red Wings. Anyways, here's the video.
March 1st, 2023. Just reading out what's on the screen here a little bit for the audio listeners. Dude, can't wait. Ohio Stadium. So it's kind of funny because even though it's Michigan versus Ohio as usual, the Blue Jackets will be wearing the blue and Michigan will be wearing the red. So it's a little ironic that it's reversed around, I think. But
Like, how many people are going to be wearing Ohio State and Michigan stuff? And how confusing is it going to be? Like, oh, he's wearing red. He's wearing Red Wing stuff. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait because they're gonna have to. I mean, I can't wait for the reveal of the jersey. You know, like, I don't know when we found out last year, like when they were going to be. I feel like they always get leaked early or something. Leaked.
I hope they do.
Yeah, I want to know.
Yeah, this will be the one time where red is not the acceptable color inside Ohio Stadium. This will be the only time where blue will be the acceptable color at Ohio Stadium at the shoe.
Yeah,
that's it. And I love that. I'm okay with that. It's just going to be great. A lot of blue in the shoe, and it'll be for the Blue Jackets. So I just love it. I just do. This is just going to be so cool. The Blue Jackets are getting an outdoor game. Owen's going to be there. I got my tickets. I'm going to be there. And once in a lifetime opportunity that the Blue Jackets are most likely never getting again. So you have the chance to do it. Get your ass down to Ohio State and see the Blue Jackets play an outdoor hockey game at the shoe. So that's just going to be so dang cool, and I just love it. Anyways, I got this cool video from a street hockey tournament that I did in June of 2017. So here it is. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. Okay.
No one's wearing eye protection. I like how like the one team looks like they're wearing a little more pads than the other.
So this is from June 2017 for a street hockey tournament that I had. And it was a lot of fun. And as you can see, there was a ref in this video, and that ref was my Uncle Doc. And he loved reffing all the street hockey tournaments that he did. He really got a kick out of it. Big hockey fan, and always loved reffing the street hockey tournaments. Because I want to say in like the 90s, he was a basketball ref for high school basketball games. And that's why he has the ref outfit. And he continued to wear that ref outfit for the street hockey tournaments. And he really got into it, and it was just, awesome. But Owen or Hefty Duck, any thoughts on this video here?
Nah, street hockey is pretty dope.
Gotta do one of these in Columbus so that way I can dominate.
Yeah, well, there's already those. I mean, we could do one just for fun, for sure, or do something like this. There is that one roller hockey
Can be goalie.
that I think Nasher does, right?
Yeah.
And that's always pretty sick. I mean, I can rollerblade. I would totally do. I mean, I can ice skate, of course, too. But I'd be down for some shoe hockey, street hockey. Yeah, we could do it. I was just in Newark the other day, and we could do it up in Newark too.
Yeah.
There's some nice parks. We were at a really nice park. It was man, I can't remember the name of it. It was right by the skate park. That's where I was. There's a disc golf course over there. Anyway.
So Owen, you said, I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but you said let me do one of these in like Columbus so I could dominate. So how good would you think you do?
I mean, I'd play goalie and forward, and I'd dominate. I'm talking 999 save percentage.
So we'll have to take 100 shots on you or something to make one goal. That's insane.
When I played in my own street hockey tournaments, I did score one goal years ago, and it was this great shot, kind of fit it, kind of like on the post right side of the net, just kind of like a snipe, just squeaked it in there. Goalie had no chance. But generally speaking, when I played, I've been more of a defensive guy. I played real good defense, and I'll always remember this. During one of my street hockey tournaments I had, there's a play behind the net, and the guy thought he had the we played the ball. I'm calling it. Thought he had the puck, and I just stripped it from him. I took it and I shot it down the ice and cleared it. And he just picked up a stick and just slammed it like, damn it. Because he thought he had it. And then I was like, nope, I played good defense and just took the puck away from him and just cleared it down the ice. So this video is almost done. It's like 5 minutes. So we're almost done. And then I'll have one more thing and then we'll do that. So I do the summer of 2017, that was the last time I did it. 2018, too hot. 2019, never got around to it. Never got around to it in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, or 2024. But I do want to get at it again in 2025. And, do another one. This is at the Johnsburg High School tennis courts in Johnsburg, Illinois. And these particular tennis courts do not exist anymore because the high school, Johnsburg High School, made some renovations during the summer. And this is something different now. You know, the tennis courts they're in a different part of the area. But that was a video from my street hockey tournament that I did, and it's pretty cool. But anyways, as I do from now on, got to give a shout out to my Uncle Doc, who was a big hockey fan. And, he liked this show. If given the chance to come on, he would have loved it. Big hockey fan, a big Union Blue Soldier supporter. He liked the Blackhawks, but I got him to like the Blue Jackets because of me. And love talking hockey with him. And I'm going to miss him. I wish he was still here, but he unfortunately died back in September. And big part of the street hockey tournaments I did, like you saw in that video. So shout out to you, Doc, my awesome uncle. I wish you were still here. Best of luck to ya. Rest in peace, and I wish you were still here. But thank you for everything, Doc. And then, like and share and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You should totally do it. That would be greatly appreciated if you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'd help us grow. So that'd be greatly appreciated. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. And go check out Union Blue Soldiers. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed fan group that I run. We do a lot of fun stuff like the marches, and we have a lot of other fun stuff planned as well. So check us out on social media. Follow Union Blue Soldiers on social media, and check out Union Blue Soldiers, a fun Blue Jackets themed fan group that I run. All right. I'm done talking. I'm out.
Hell yeah, brother. So I just got one thing to add to the show yet today. It's not hockey related, but since we're not going to see you till next Wednesday, I'd like to wish a very happy birthday this Sunday on the 10th to the United States Marine Corps. And Veterans Day is going to be on Monday. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit next week, but hope everyone out there has an enjoyable weekend and has a go thank a veteran this week and do something nice for him. We always appreciate, I know I always appreciate people who served, and this is a great weekend reminder for that. So other than that, we'll be back here 1 week from today, same time, same place, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Well, let me double check something real quick because I don't know their entire schedule. Next week will be the 13th. Sweet. Okay. If there's games on our podcast days, we usually push it one way or the other. So, but yeah, same time, same place. Go follow us on YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. We're at 99 subscribers. We need one more for 100. Also, check us out on Facebook. We're trying to grow our Facebook page after we kind of lost the other one. It's a long story, but we'd really appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Once again, big shout out to the audio listeners out there. You make the world go round, and you're awesome. And we'll see you here in 1 week. So, see